The deer. A mark of nature's grace and beauty. From Bambi to this freaky thing, deer are known as fantastic creatures of the forest. Today, we will be exploring the family Cervidae. Absolutely astonishing. First, I'd just like to list off the main, branching species. You got the tufted deer, fallow deer, Persian fallow deer, Aruza, sambar, red deer, Thorlod's deer, Sika deer, Eld's deer, Indian hog deer, reindeer, American red rocket, white-tailed deer, mule deer, marsh deer, gray brocket, southern poodoo, roe deer, water deer, moose, and elk. While I'm not going to be going over every single member of this family, I will, however, be going over moose, reindeer/caribou, Chinese water deer, and the tufted deer, along with the poodoo. But first, I am going to name off some of the main characteristics that most deer have. Now, one thing special about the deer that you've probably noticed are the giant antlers sitting on its head. Antlers can weigh anywhere between a few pounds to a lot more than that. And for centuries, people have been carving them into handles for knives and other sorts of various tools. They use these horns for mating mostly. They will fight other males and compete for females. The only deer that doesn't possess antlers is the Chinese water deer, but instead they have long tusk-like canines. While males usually sport antlers, females normally do not. Another thing to note about most deer is that they primarily feed on leaves. Another feature of deer is their hooves. This means that they are somewhat related to giraffes and animals like the buffalo. However, they are obviously extremely different in everything. So anyway, like I said before, we're going to start to hone in on some more specific species. First off, the moose. Now, moose are the largest of all the members of the family Cervidae. The males are immediately recognizable by their huge antlers. They can spread up to 6 feet from end to end. One thing you probably wish you didn't know was that the flap of skin underneath its chin is called a bell. It's pretty gross looking. It's a skin flap. Mooses are actually really fast. They can run up to 35 miles an hour over short distances and can keep a steady trot at 20 miles an hour. Moose males are called bulls. The bulls are normally solitary, but come together at each September and October to battle with their antlers for mating supremacy. And man, Canada's a scary place. Whoa, look at that. What? Whoa. But I mean, look at this one, He just ran away from that dog. Ha. Females give birth to 1 or 2 calves in the spring. These calves weigh about 30 pounds and can outrun a person by the time they are just 5 days old. Young moose stay with their mothers until the following mating season. And as a trait with most Cervidae, young moose are able to walk pretty much right after birth. Just look at him. Here's some more clips of moose looking majestic. Look at all of this stock footage I was able to grab of the majestic moose. Now it's time to move on to something else though. Caribou, or better known as the reindeer, are actually the same thing. In Europe they're called reindeer, and in North America the name reindeer is used when referring to European populations, and caribou to refer to wild populations in North America. Males begin to grow antlers in February, and females in May. That's right, females and males of this species grow horns and will shed them. A male will drop his in November, leaving him without antlers until the following spring, while female reindeer keep their antlers through the winter until their calves are born in May. And I'd just like to point out, like every single website around Christmas time, that Rudolph was probably a girl. Whoa, isn't that so crazy? They originally inhabited the tundra and forest of Scandinavia and northern Russia, but were soon introduced to Iceland, Greenland, Alaska, and Canada. They are covered in hair from their nose to the very bottom of their feet. They have hairy feet. One of the coolest thing about reindeer that you probably didn't know is that they can see ultraviolet light and are the only mammal that can do so. This is because of the snow. In order to spot vital sources of food and, other stuff, I guess, they have developed the ability to see in ultraviolet. It helps distinguish the snow from everything else. Also, look, Santa Claus. Look at how many reindeer Santa has. Whoa. I hope you're impressed. But now it's time to move on to yet another deer. This time, I'm tackling two. The Chinese water deer and tufted deer are the two species of deer that do not grow horns, and instead grow giant, terrifying vampire tusks. First, the Chinese water deer. As it suggests, the Chinese water deer typically lives in marshy habitats and is an adept swimmer. Chinese water deer are native to China and Korea, but have been introduced to France and the UK in more recent years. The teeth usually come out in the autumn of the deer's first year at approximately 6 to 7 months of age. By early spring, the tusks will be about halfway grown. Water deer have been known to reproduce up to 7 young at a time, but 2 or 3 is more average for this species. But their records have made them the most prolific of all deer. Just look at how weird these things look. However, they will never match up to the tufted deer, which is pretty much the same thing, except he has a rockin' hairdo. They are also a small species of deer, characterized by a prominent tuft of black hair on its forehead, and fang-like canines. These can grow up to an inch long. The tufted deer is found mainly in China, but has also been spotted in eastern Tibet. Tufted deer are mainly solitary, but can be found in pairs. Another interesting thing is that they are crepuscular, which means that they wake up at dawn and at dusk, instead of night or day. They are easily frightened, like pretty much every deer is, and will actually bark before running away. The mating season occurs between September and December, during which the loud barks during which the loud barks of males can be easily heard. Just look at these little guys. And finally, I would like to draw your attention to the poodoo. These guys are a weird orange color for some reason. They're found in South America. The northern poodoo can only reach 18 inches tall, and its antlers are on the shorter end of the species. Poodoos are the world's smallest deer and only weigh up to 26 pounds. The highest record weight for the poodoo is only 30 pounds. These things are actually so small that horned owls are one of their predators. Poodoos are largely solitary and are kind of not that well known due to the fact that they are quote-unquote secretive in nature. Poodoos are also crepuscular. When fleeing, the poodoo moves in zigzags. Anyway, this pretty much wraps up my video on family Cervidae. I hope you learned a lot about deer, because there's a lot of really weird facts about them that you probably didn't know. Like, did you know that some deer's horns get so crazy that they can have up to 47 different branching points on them? That is the current record for the most branches on a deer's head. Just look at how happy this guy is. Like, did you also know that deer can just eat bark? Especially the ones living around here, the whitetails? They will just strip bark and eat it in the winter. Anyway, that's pretty much it. So, bye. Say hello to Chad for me. Or, I'll just do that myself. Chad forever, Lillian out.